what would you say to a teenager or someone like yourself searching for meaning in their life?
Well, clearly this resonates with me because that was what reached me as a teen. What I have argued is that if God does not exist, if atheism is true, then life is ultimately absurd. And I would analyze that in three ways. Life is ultimately without meaning or significance. Nothing really matters because everything will end up the same in the heat death of the universe. There is no ultimate value because everything is relative to either personal choices or societal conventions, and nothing is ultimately purposeful. There is no ultimate purpose for your life or for the human race as a whole. It will all die out someday in the heat death of the universe. So I think that atheism is a philosophy that is impossible to live out consistently and happily. If you try to live consistently, you will be in despair. You will be profoundly unhappy because no one can live with the conviction that his life is ultimately meaningless, valueless, and purposeless and be happy. On the other hand, if the atheist manages to be happy, it's only by acting inconsistently with his worldview, by affirming the reality of moral values and the purposes of the enterprises in which he's engaged. A good example of someone like this would be Richard Dawkins, who on the one hand says there is no evil, there is no good, just pitiless indifference, just chunks of matter in motion, and no ultimate purpose or meaning. And yet at the same time, his books are filled with moral judgments. He even drafts his own 10 commandments for living life, just completely inconsistent in trying to live out his life within the framework of an atheistic worldview.
Do you think maybe sometimes they might say they're atheists, but there's that wrestling going on inside, maybe that they mightn't be 100% atheist, but there's something at work inside the person that they're searching for meaning, and maybe these are little glimpses of that search?
Yeah, that is very possible. It may well be that they are simply lashing out. Often you find these folks have been emotionally hurt in the church. They've had negative experiences that have left them scarred. And so they're angry and lashing out against institutional religion. And it may be that deep down inside, there is still a hope and a belief that there's a loving God that exists, but they just haven't found him yet. And I think we need to try to help folks get beyond these fallible, flawed, man-made institutions to really find a personal relationship with God himself and with Christ. I try to point people to the person of Jesus, because Jesus wouldn't have been a member of the Inquisition. He wouldn't have been a guard at Auschwitz. Jesus is our example, and we should point to him rather than to the record of institutional religion.